Things are not good with the New York Rangers. It's a disaster, frankly. I mean, for the expectations for what they've done recently, I can look at other teams like the New York Islanders or Buffalo Sabres, certain teams that are in the state of New York that are as bad, if not, I mean, for the sake of the Sabres and the Islanders, they are worse than the New York Rangers for the standings right now. But I can tell you for this, talking to Rangers fans, looking at the interactions, looking at the team that they've built, this should not be the scenario for the New York Rangers, right? One of the best defensemen in the league, one of the best goalies in the league, offense that has done some great things in recent years, but it's a disaster. They've lost 10 of their last 13 games, but we're going to go through that. So if you're a new subscriber, welcome. I hope if not, you hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, subscribe, like, comment down below, and notifications, of course. But yeah, let's go through it. I mean, disaster. Some of these words that are being spoken and put out there associated with the New York Rangers. Ryan Mead, New York Rangers are the worst team in the league. Soft, easy to play against, a shell of their former self. The fall from grace has been hard and fast. And then my guy Johnny Laz talking about, again, what I just said. They're 3-10 in their last 13 games, which is disgraceful, frankly. And then Stark, something major has to happen inside of the New York Rangers locker room, folks. There's no way that without extreme change to the roster, this team has completely collapsed. It doesn't make sense. I'm not buying it. So we're also going to go over that in this video, talking about the New York Rangers, what trades, what moves are going to be made. Because at the end of the day, you could talk about Peter Laviolette being on the hot seat. He is not the scapegoat for me here. He shouldn't be. And frankly, I think it would be wrong to make him that. This was before the game, so you see already kind of the storylines going in. Capo Caco, healthy scratch. Capo Caco, healthy scratch. Panarin, injured, not good, but the Caco, healthy scratch is a conversation. Is he the next guy to go? And then Adrian Dater after the game goes, I would advise Rangers beat media to keep that phone with loud text message alerts close to their ears in the next 24 hours. Honestly, guys, I think something's coming within like this week, and that's why I'm recording this video, because I think something's coming. So already off the bat, like talking about the Buffalo Sabres, New York Rangers doing something to shake things up for the two teams. I would also say throw it out there, and I have it kind of closed off here, but I wonder about the Florida Panthers with Capo Caco. I think Samoskevich might be too much. Maybe the Rangers also have to throw in a pick because I think Samoskevich is younger. Caco hasn't really panned out. But my perspective here is there's a lot of Finns on the Florida Panthers. The Florida Panthers are known to bring out a lot out of guys that either once had a high ceiling or just haven't had that opportunity. I feel like Caco on a line maybe with Lundell could be very interesting. I'm just going to put that out there. I think the Florida Panthers would get a lot more out of Caco. It's just an idea. Keep an eye on the Florida Panthers for Caco. But I mean, this is not from me, but these are just from fans right after the game, like the overreactions, right? Just tossing Zibanejad for nothing, tossing Kreider for nothing, bringing Ryan Strome back, tossing Ryan Lindgren and Riley Smith for nothing. Like a lot of those conversations. Caco to Chicago wouldn't be another thought. But then there's others. I mean, like stuff like just sending Lafreniere off, which is obviously super irrational. But I honestly think between Caco, Kreider, some of these wingers, and then Lindgren or Keandre Miller, like I think there's going to be moves coming here. And then I would be curious about calling the Canucks too. Obviously, there was the JT Miller stuff. Brock Besser's a pending UFA. I know Vancouver's playing well, but could you entice Vancouver if they can't sign one of those guys? Sign Brock Besser long term. You never know. I mean, Brendan Othman could be interesting as well for Vancouver. This person says, I don't even know anymore. Just starts, again, tossing them around. I do wonder about Riley Smith as maybe like a return to the Pacific Division. Maybe Vegas, maybe Edmonton's calling if Rangers are willing to retain. The double retention going there. This is one I put together. Let's see here. Again, this is not actually the trade, but I'm just talking about Rangers targets. Zegras, Vetrano, Killorn. If they could send Cap the other way, this is not the actual trade, so I'm making it clear. But I'm talking about if Anaheim and the Rangers were going to make another trade. We know Trouba just got shipped to the Ducks. Could it be a scenario where one of the guys on the Ducks still is a target for the Rangers outside of that Trouba trade? So they didn't want to bring Cap back, but I'm just saying Zegras, there's been some New York conversations there, and I honestly think Frankie Vetrano is a great fit in New York. So if you could bring Vetrano back, that'd be awesome. These are trades that I think are hot take-ish, but in terms of 3 teams I think the Rangers could trade with, the Nashville Predators, they're at the bottom of the standings. I think they could use a huge shakeup. If there's a scenario where Mika Zibanejad can one wave, Nashville would be a good place to play for him, I think. It'd be out of the bright lights in terms of the media, but at the same time, he would be playing with fellow Swede Philip Forsberg. If I had one destination for Mika Zibanejad that makes the most sense, it would be the Nashville Predators because of what they need up the middle of the ice. You could slide O'Reilly down to the second line, Novak to the third line. This would make a lot of sense for the Nashville Predators. Sorry, I have it out of the screen there. But Zibanejad to the Nashville Predators, and then the Rangers could get first-round picks back. It's not Nashville's first-round pick. Nashville has first-round picks from Tampa and Vegas for this upcoming draft. Nashville could keep their own first-round pick because it could end up being very high, but they trade first-round picks that will be later in the first round, give value to the Rangers, and the Rangers give another former Lightning a chance in Steven Stamkos. He's had a brutal year 5-on-5 with Nashville and just hasn't worked out. Maybe Stammer finds it in the bright lights at Madison Square Garden. Again, it's a massive hot take, but in terms of shaking it up for these two teams, Rangers get extra value. I honestly think Rangers fans, I'm preaching to you here. How could you not consider this? You get 2 first-round picks. You get out of the Mika contract. Yes, Stammer's got 3 years after this year. That's risky, but a guy that can score. And at the end of the day, I think the Rangers wouldn't mind that with a dual threat in Panarin. I mean, again, we'll see. But this Blues one makes a lot of sense for me. Kakko and Lindgren, I think a lot of fans are done with Lindgren. Kakko, healthy scratch. Brandon Saad, I've been preaching this lately. Brandon Saad for me, and ironically, if you played it on the line with Panarin, these guys swap spots, Columbus, Chicago. I think Saad would be a great fit for the Rangers. Specifically, he played with Trocheck in the OHL. He played with Trocheck on the Saginaw Spirit. I think Saad would be a great... If they were to want Lafreniere on a different line, maybe Saad is with Trocheck and Panarin. It's an idea. And that's what I have. And then again, going back to that Buffalo Rangers conversation, I think the Rangers and Sabres could also make a trade together. Dylan Cousins, for me, would be the target for the New York Rangers. If the Rangers are going to trade Zibanejad, they need a guy to replace him. It would be Dylan Cousins. And I think Dylan Cousins would strive. Him and Lafreniere together on the line. And then, like I said, you just put that Panarin line together. I think that could be a great idea. Dylan Cousins, if Rangers fans are not aware, he just got a misconduct at the end of the game with the Leafs. Or at the end of the game against the Leafs. And at the end of the day, the Sabres are on a 10-game losing streak. So if you think things are bad with the Rangers, and they are, the Sabres, as I'm recording this video, are on a 10-game losing streak, and Dylan Cousins has heavily struggled this year. I think in terms of the Sabres looking for veteran presence, it could be Chris Kreider, and Philip Hedl would be a fine replacement. He could put up second-line numbers. So the Sabres could run with Tage Thompson, Philip Hedl, Ryan McLeod, and the Rangers, for me, would get a legit top-6 center in Dylan Cousins, who I think could rebound and revive his potential and his growth with the New York Rangers. So the idea around that is simply this. I think you can go Stammer with Cousins and Lafreniere. I think that's a great line, great balance. You have 2 younger guys with the vet. Then you have Panarin, Trocheck, Saad. I think that's a really good second line. The third line, could it be better? Of course. I think you could still flip Riley Smith in a trade. I think Riley Smith might still get traded. Johnny B, I mean, my problem with him is like he's got really good flashes, but do you want him to be your consistent third line center? Maybe not. Maybe he's your fourth line center and you go out and get a third line center. Will Cooley, I love Will Cooley, and he's had a great year. So I think if you can get a third line center, maybe you toss up Brendan Othman to see if he can give you some value and get a second or third line center for the sake of this. If you do get Dylan Cousins, then Cousins and Trocheck are a good 1-2 punch. And then I like Scott Perunovich a lot. I mean, he's looked good with the Blues. He just hasn't been able to stay healthy. I think, again, if you can get Henry Jokiharju cheap as well, like these are the guys that the Rangers should look out for. Again, Keandre Miller's on IR. I think they're going to look into trading one of Keandre Miller or Ryan Lindgren. They traded Trouba. I think they might still have more changes on the defense group. And again, I think between Kreider and Zibanejad and Kakko, I think we're going to see one of those names in the trades, in a trade in the next week, maybe less, next 24 hours. I hope we'll make that the clickbait title. 24 hours. Rangers are making a trade. Maybe one of those 3 guys I just mentioned. So thank you so much, guys. Again, going back to these quotes, I mean, crazy stuff in Rangerland right now. So comment below what you think. What's the next move for the Rangers and how they get out of this. So thank you so much. This was John from Hot Take Hockey. Talk soon. Peace.